Okay, I think I'm on. We're live again. We're continuing the tradition of being live during every single prime time, or after, I already messed up, after every single primetime game. It's Monday night. Week 2 is officially over. And, I don't know, man. I'm kind of scratching my head after those. I'm yelling. Let me turn the music down in my headset. Those were some weird ones. I'm not going to lie to you. And by weird, I mean, defensive. I don't think a lot of people had fun tonight. I don't think a lot of people watched these games and thought, this NFL thing is cool, man. I'm glad it's back. This is really fun. You saw the first game, which I guess we'll talk about Bucks Texans later. Spoiler, I don't have a ton to say about either of these games. I do have a little bit more to say about Chargers Raiders, though. I did not like anything I saw from the Raiders. Maybe their pass rush was fine, I guess. Max Crosby is good. Their defense didn't have a bad day. But it felt like the Chargers went up early and were just playing with a lead for the rest of the game. And despite the Chargers trying their absolute best to keep the Raiders back in this game, at least from an offensive perspective, I don't know, dude. This felt very come down to earth for the Raiders. The Raiders are a team that are 1-0, and whatever. We'll click on it. They're 1-0. They beat the Patriots, who, aren't great. They're not great. I think it's interesting that Tom Brady was in the booth. I think they should just give him the headset. Because Chip Kelly, why does the NFL keep trying Chip Kelly? I was going to wait a little bit to talk about this, but honestly, let's just get to the meat and potatoes of my take. Why are we still waiting for Chip Kelly to become a good coach? Chargers did it again. Well, when you say the Chargers, welcome, Mohammed. When you say the Chargers did it again, my mind immediately goes to, the Chargers blew a big game. This is the opposite. The Chargers won in prime time. And I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot more of this. And I have some things to say about the Chargers. As you can see, Jay Herbo led the team in rushing, which is never good. It's almost like quarterbacks are running the ball a lot. I should make a video about that. And, I don't know. I was pretty unimpressed with both sides of the ball, but let's talk about the Raiders first. Ashton Jeanty, man. I don't want to sound like a hater, and I feel like talking about these two defensive games is going to make me sound like a real Gen Z idiot who doesn't really know the grit and grind of football. I know that good football is supposed to be defensive, and sometimes there are some games that are just slugfests, and I feel like we got that with Buccaneers Texans. That was a good defensive game. Those were two defensive lines that were getting to the quarterback, and while you may have not enjoyed watching it, that was a good game from a defensive side of the ball. The Raiders' offensive play calling, man, I don't understand it. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because I'm watching Chip Kelly, a guy who's been bummed out of the NFL like 100 times at this point, get a job with 75-year-old Pete Carroll. Happy birthday, Pete, by the way. He should run for office. But I think we're getting to a point where I've seen 2 games of Ashton Jeanty. He's just not that quick. And when you take a guy 5th in the draft, and he's supposed to be the fundamental leverage point of your offense, you take him 5th in the draft. Whether or not they're blocking for him, they're not, is not the discussion here. Ashton Jeanty is not explosive. He's not a quick runner. And it's not like he's just going to stumble into some speed. Yes, he's very strong. He has a really good balance, a really low center of gravity. These are all good things to have for a running back. But he doesn't have that explosive burst. And normally, you would think, well, he's a rookie running back. What do you expect him to do, everything? They took this guy 5th overall. I don't remember. Who went after Ashton Jeanty? I know Ted McMillan did. And the Raiders certainly could use a deep threat wide receiver or just a wide receiver to begin with. Let's just do a quick recap of guys the Raiders took. The Raiders took Ashton Jeanty ahead of, right? 6th overall, my bad. I thought he was thinking 5th. They could have shored up the offensive line, which would have been very helpful, right? They could have had an explosive deep threat receiver in T-Mac. They could have shored up that defensive line and made it a really impressive unit. Obviously, they weren't going to take Tyler Warren. And obviously, people say this wasn't the strongest draft class. But Omarion Hampton looks better than Ashton Jeanty, and Omarion Hampton fumbled the football. Omarion Hampton hasn't done anything that big this season. But you're the Raiders, and you're looking at this, and people said the Raiders were sneaky good. This team is sneaky good. That's what everyone said. They've got some explosive offensive weapons, right? They've got some firepower. And yes, Brock Bowers is clearly playing hurt. Brock Bowers should not have played tonight. When your tight end is wearing a knee brace and he's already not one of the quicker guys, it's not going to pan out for you. Michael Mayer got more targets, if I'm not mistaken. They were definitely close. No, he did not. Michael Mayer had 4 targets. Bowers had 8. I completely bricked that one. But nothing impressive. I mean, Geno Smith, and I'll talk about Geno. I'll do a whole thing on Geno. But my biggest takeaways from these games, 1, Ashton Jeanty should not have been the 6th overall pick. 2, even if he should have been, Chip Kelly has no idea what to do with him. Chip Kelly does not know what to do with this offense. Chip Kelly, he's just not that good at football. He's just not that good at coaching football. Can we leave the guy in college? Congratulations, dude. You won it in the Big Ten. You beat up on a bunch of 19-year-olds that barely know what a cover 3 defense is, Chip Kelly. But I'm a Giants fan, as everybody in this stream knows, and I think it's just Muhammad for now. Everybody knows that I'm a Giants fan, and I like Chip Kelly. That's not a good thing. I really like Chip Kelly because he screwed over the Eagles. He was a good coach for like 1 season, and then he fell off a cliff. And he fell off the cliff in week 2. Congrats, Raiders. You beat the Patriots. Mahi's still a Jeanty believer. And maybe and I'm not going to sit here and say the offensive line blocked super great. The offensive line more or less got completely beat down by the Chargers D-line. The Chargers have like 4 or 5 interior defensive linemen. Yeah, I'm more than happy to blame Chip Kelly. There it is. Like the Chargers have more than like 4 or 5 defensive linemen that are just like always getting to the quarterback, always stuffing the run. The Chargers defense is for real. I'm still not seeing it with Ashton Jeanty. And I thought that coming out of the draft, I was excited that the Raiders took him because it's exciting. He's a skilled player, and I don't like that running backs are getting screwed over in the modern NFL. That being said, it is a not lightning fast player out of Boise State. That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say. Ashton Jeanty's very strong. He's a good prospect, but I don't think he's worth the 6th pick in the draft. Cam Scottaboo had more broken tackles than him this season. Cam Scottaboo went in the 4th round. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and say Cam Scottaboo is better than Ashton Jeanty, but I don't think they're 4 rounds apart. At least not from what we've seen. Cam Scottaboo had more yards. Cam Scottaboo had 49 yesterday. 49. Like, in a committee. So, yeah, the offensive line didn't look great. And Geno Smith knows that better than anyone. And I'll talk about him next, but my biggest takeaways are Ashton Jeanty doesn't have the juice, and Chip Kelly needs to get the hell out of the NFL, dude. He's got to go. Tom Brady's in the coaching booth. Just give him the headset. Give him the headset. And they were calling this game like the Patriots would. Like the Patriots would. Take what the defense gives you. Short passes, underneath, dink and dunk. The problem is, 1, they couldn't score. They didn't get a single touchdown. The other problem, they were down the entire game. And Geno Smith threw his first interception, chalk it up. I don't even remember his first interception, to be honest with you. We'll have to look it up. The second interception, I really didn't like. And Dan Orlovsky, who was on the call, said, sometimes it's 3rd and long. You just got to throw it deep. No, you don't. No, you don't. He had his check down right in front of him. And Geno Smith skies it into double coverage to Tyquan Thornton, of all people. Tyquan Thornton wears number 10 or 11, and he puts on nose tape. He grew his hair out like Hopkins. I think everybody on the Raiders just thinks he's Hopkins. And prime Hopkins at that. These deep balls they're sending him on. Am I the only one that doesn't understand the Tyquan Thornton usage? Dante Thornton. My bad. I mixed up Thorntons. Dante Thornton. But you get in this game. You know what? That first interception was not Geno's fault. I remember it now. The first interception, I'm not going to pin on Geno. That was a really great play by the Chargers defense. The other 2, I will blame on Geno. Especially that 3rd one. That 3rd one he threw, It gets batted by Derwin James, who's covering the wide receiver. I think it was Myers he targeted. By the way, Myers, 12 targets, 6 grabs. If that doesn't tell you much about the Chargers defense, I don't know what does. So yeah, the Chargers defense deserves its flowers. But the Raiders offense just barely came to play. And something Louis Riddick said a lot was, the Raiders aren't playing with any urgency. No urgency. And sometimes it's good to play patient and let the defense take what the defense gives you. Other times you score 6 points in one half and you have to, you got to come back. You're down 17-6 at half. They interview Pete Carroll. They ask him, Pete, what do you guys got to do differently? This dude looks Pete Schrager square in the face and says, we got to play better. Those were his notes. We got to play better. And maybe don't fluff it up with the media, but I genuinely think that's all he thought. I think that's all Pete Carroll took away from that first half. He is an old man. There's a reason he got fired. There's a reason he's not coaching big games anymore. There's a reason the Raiders looked like that. They kind of did the same stuff they did against the Pats. They didn't adjust to better comp. Exactly. And to be honest, I didn't watch all of Raiders Patriots, but I know Geno put on. I know he had a great day, like passing the ball, letting it deep. He was first in passing yards or second in passing yards. And they stopped the run. Like, the Raiders' defense is not that bad. And maybe that's what Pete Carroll's specialty is. Defense. But good God almighty, man. Like, it's just an uninspiring game. It's just an uninspiring game out of the Raiders. And, like, I thought they poured it on against the Patriots. I remember them putting on, like, 30 or 40. They scored 20 points, dude. They got 2 touchdowns. Like, I don't make the rules. But if I did, I would fire Chip Kelly. My point has been made. Let's talk about the Chargers. The Chargers' defense looks like an elite unit. This felt a lot like Commanders Packers, which is a huge slight to the Commanders to compare them to this Raiders team. But I'm not going to walk it back. The Chargers secondary was destroying the Raiders receiving core. Now, do they get credit for locking up Jacoby Myers, Dante Thornton, and Trey Tucker? No. Not a ton. I'd love to see the Chargers go against a really talented receiving unit. Here's the thing with that, though. And they went against Hollywood and Juju last week. So again, I'd love to see the Chargers go against a talented receiver unit. We will see what happens against Denver. This is going to be an interesting one, an AFC West matchup. Because the Broncos, everybody's out on the Broncos all of a sudden. Their defense got sliced up by Dan Jones. Who the hell knows what happened in that game? Broncos really tried to lose. Then we have week 4 against the Giants. We all know the Chargers are going to lose that one. The Commanders' offense, nothing too crazy to write home about. I mean, Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin are a much better unit than this Raiders team. And I'm including Brock Bowers in that. But Brock Bowers on one leg is not enough, right? So while the Chargers deserve credit, I don't think they're going to get a real test. God damn, until the Eagles. Until December. Like, this is the easiest schedule I've seen in my life. And besides week 4, obviously. That's an insta-loss. But, like, the Eagles, and as it stands right now, the Eagles' offense looks ridiculous. The Eagles' offense has no clue. By then, hopefully, they have it figured out. Or maybe not. Go Giants. But, like, they don't have a big test. And maybe if the Chiefs are healthy at that point, that'll be a test. This is a crazy easy schedule. I could see the Chargers winning 13 games. And that's great. That's great. But, like, I really want to see this Chargers unit, this defense, one, stay healthy. They already lost Khalil Mack. Looks like he's going to miss some time. Broken arm for sure. But it feels like we're not going to see them play a real legitimate unit until the postseason. And if that's the way it goes, then that's the way it goes. But, man, this one kind of blew. This one kind of blew. Especially the Omarion Hampton fumble at the end there was ridiculous. I cannot believe running backs keep fumbling it in their own territory when the game's almost over. I couldn't believe the Chargers went for it again in their own territory on 4th down. Got bailed out by their defense and Geno Smith's incompetence. So, like, the Chargers deserve their flowers. They are 2-0. They started 2-0 last year. How did that season end up? They deserve their flowers, though. I don't know, though. I really want to see this Chargers team get like a 2 or 3 seed in the AFC and play a real contender in the AFC. But to be honest, I'm thinking about that and I'm kind of like scratching my head a little bit. Because you look at this conference, right? The Bengals are like, that's not going to work. Not without Burrow. That's not going to fly. Dan Jones. Is that like a serious player in the AFC right now? Like, what? The Ravens, obviously I believe in the Ravens. And the Chiefs are a coin flip at this point. I'm really not a big Chiefs believer. We all know that. I think the Chiefs are going to lose to the Giants. Confidently, by the way. So I'm looking down the barrel and I'm like, are there any Bills, obviously, but like, are there any explosive offenses the Chargers are going to run into? And the answer is like almost no. Like, I think I see 3. Kirk might be a Bengal soon. He should be. He should be. Hopefully the owner pays up. If that happens, everything changes. The Bengals instantly become #1 contenders in the AFC. At 2-0, that roster, defense playing well. Can't wait for Chris Brown to join and explain his take on the Kirk O'Chains thing. But I just don't see a world where like this conference challenges the Chargers. So like, are the Chargers going to win the AFC by default? I mean, obviously Bills and Ravens are good teams, but like, are the Chargers 3? And I'm not even that impressed by the Chargers. But I don't think anyone else looks that good. And we'll talk about the Texans next. I don't think they're a major player. I certainly don't think any of the 0-2 teams are that great, especially not Kansas City right now today. Provided the Chiefs stay healthy for the rest of the year, then maybe the Chiefs will compete. And that feels like a weird, really hot take. Maybe I'm overreacting the first 2 weeks. I just feel like the Chiefs have put nothing around Mahomes. Pacheco looks bad. He's in a committee with Kareem Hunt in 2025. It's like, what's the point? What's the goddamn point? The O-line doesn't even look that great. The Chargers already beat them. So I feel like the Chargers are good by default, which is such a weird thing to say about a team. But, like, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, are there many teams that are going to, like, really, like, put on against the Chargers? And then I look at the NFC and it's like, I think the Packers would beat the Chargers. I think the Eagles would beat the Chargers. Maybe. We'll see. And they play the Chargers, so that'll be a big test. I think the Bucks beat the Chargers. I think the Rams beat them. I think the Falcons put on a good fight. I don't know about the Commanders. The Vikings look kind of like a disaster. I think the Lions put up a good fight. And we all know how I think this game's going to go. I just think the NFC is stronger this year. I think so, and I don't think that's a hot take. Especially from an offensive perspective. The Bengals losing Joe Burrow is a big deal. Mixes up the whole power dynamic in the conference. So just looking down the barrel of the where this season's going, things could change. People could get hurt. Trades could happen. I said in my week 1 video, the season doesn't actually start until week 5. We'll see. We will see. But as it stands right now, that Chargers defense is for real. The offense, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know about deep balls to QJ every game. We'll see. But good on the Chargers. They won. They deserved it. Well-earned Chargers. I got 17 minutes out of that game. Is there anything else that I wanted to hit on other than Geno Smith? Just the lights are too bright for Geno Smith. The Geno Smith thing is over, I think. It was fun in Seattle. He was kind of able to hide in the afternoon slot. Do I think the Bills can do it? I hope so. I really do. I think the Bills can do it, man. I think the AFC is wide open. The AFC is like Quentin Johnson on a deep post. It's wide open. I don't get it at all, but I think the AFC is a 2-horse race. And the Chargers may be able to claw their way into that. It'd take a minute. It would take a while, but like, it would take a big step up offensively from the Chargers. The Chargers deserve credit. They do. But Herbert's leading the team in rushing. QJ's their top wide receiver. Keenan Allen clearly has lost some speed. No doubt about that. Ladd McConkey's just not getting involved as much as you'd think. I don't know if Johnson's for real. Because he's for real in fantasy. He's for real in fantasy, but 7 targets, 3 grabs, and all of his yards coming from that one deep ball. He deserves credit. I'm not going to say he doesn't. He's definitely playing better than he was the last couple seasons, but like, there's just not much firepower on this offense. You got Fetty Wap down here, who the Chargers seem to trust more with the ball, considering Omarion fumbled. And Omarion Hampton looks good. I'm not going to say he doesn't. Like, Omarion Hampton looks like a set and forget, like, good player. Maybe not in fantasy yet, but he looks a little bit quicker than Ashton Janty, which I guess is something now. I feel kind of apathetic towards this one. I want to give more analysis, but to be honest with you, the Raiders just looked bad. The Raiders just looked really bad, man. And the Geno Smith thing, like, hate him or love him, I think it's over. 3 picks on prime time. Negan, AFC is still the Chiefs. I like the take, but I can't agree with it. I think even with Rashee Rice, even with Xavier Worthy, I don't think this offense has the juice. We will see. We will see. And to be honest, I'm kind of rooting for the Chiefs to take a step up. Because after looking at the current landscape of the AFC, we need more comp in that side. We need more comp in the red conference, because this is just not a good look. The Raiders, man, a team that was supposed to be sneaky good. Some people said that they had a dark horse chance to win the division. No, they don't. No, they don't. I think the Raiders are going to be picking top 10 again. And maybe they can take another offensive weapon instead of really figuring out the problem, which is offensive line. Maybe they can take a quarterback. Maybe it's Drew Aller season. Should we talk about Dan Jones? Should we talk about Dan Jones for a minute? Dan Jones beat the Broncos. And we will find out next week if the Broncos are that bad or if the Colts are for real. Some stats about Dan Jones that I didn't read yesterday because I didn't want to. I didn't know that the Colts have yet to punt. The Colts have yet to punt this season. What? I honestly hope the Dan Jones thing, works. I do. It sounds so antithetical to everything I've said on this stream. But, honestly, that's what everyone said about the Chiefs last season. Turn on for a late season run. What are you talking about? They started 8-0. Late season run? The Chiefs were undefeated for a while. The Chiefs lost 2 games. What do you mean late season run? Now, the Chiefs are tough in the playoffs. And I think that's something that needs to be noted. I think, and this is not a hot take, a lot of people are saying this, I think the Chiefs are going to probably lose the division. I think they already lost the tiebreaker to the Chargers. The Chargers have a cakewalk for the rest of the season. So I think the Chargers will probably take it. Denver also doesn't look that amazing. Yeah, weren't the Chiefs 14-2 exactly? Yeah, they went 15-2. So I'm not gonna. I get. I'm not saying the Chiefs won a bunch of clean games, but it's not the same thing. And I just think the Chiefs are lacking the firepower. And to be honest, I'm starting to think there's a little something to the Super Bowl hangover for the Chiefs as Super Bowl losers. When the 49ers lost to the Chiefs, I said to someone who didn't really watch football, I said, the 49ers, this is a big deal because the 49ers this is a franchise-changing loss. This is the kind of game that will leave a mark on the 49ers for a really long time. I really hope the Giants losing to Dallas yesterday is not one of those losses. I really hope. It could be. But the 49ers were completely healthy. They had everything go their way for the first time ever, and they still lost. And I think the same goes for the Chiefs. The Chiefs had almost a full unit besides Rashee Rice when Pat Mahomes ran through his ACL in Week 5. What an awesome day that was for me as a Rashee Rice fan. And it feels like the Chiefs, everything worked and they still lost. And I think that's going to hold throughout the rest of the season. But let me respond to what you guys are saying. The only game they lost last was against the Bills, and then their weeks 18 nonsense. I'm saying everyone rode the Bills and Ravens last season, then come the playoffs, and the Chiefs are different. I don't disagree with that. What I was saying was, I think the Chargers are going to win the division, but I think the Chiefs are probably more dangerous in the playoffs. Right? I think that's fair. I think that's really fair. It's just... I'm yelling. I'm really trying to portray narratives here. But to be honest, this was one of the most boring games I've seen in my life. I'm calling this one the YouTube Shorts game. Because I just found myself, scrolling for a lot of it. And I'm trying to take notes on these games, but, I got to a point where I was getting here, and my notes are basically just Geno Smith sucks. The Chargers have a super easy schedule. Jermaine Pratt, you got to pick that off. Of course, it didn't matter because the Chargers went for it on 4th and 2 and didn't get it. Geno got really rattled, by the way. Oh, and one more thing. Pete Carroll's first half notes. You got to play better. Thanks a lot. Why even interview the guy at that point? But yeah, no. The Chargers defense is for real. The Raiders clock management isn't. It was really shitty across the board. I don't know how you get 3 points out of an 11-minute drive when you're down 2 scores. I don't understand that, frankly. That's just being outcoached. Straight up. Being outcoached. The Chargers defensive coordinator deserves a bunch of credit. I don't even know who it is. Is it Greg Roman or that's their OC, right? Who is the Chargers DC? Because I think this fella might get some coaching consideration. Jesse Minter. Michigan man. A sign stealer, probably. Jesse Minter. Also a DB coach for the Ravens, 2017 to 2020. Yeah, I think this guy's going to get some coaching looks. Well, this offseason, I think Jesse Minter's going to get some coaching interviews for sure, man. Because he pitched a hell of a game tonight. I can't lie. And maybe it was bad Raiders. Maybe Geno Smith is washed. Yeah. I don't know. And let me say this about Ladd in fantasy, because I know John said something about that. Ladd's pissing me off. I don't know what's going on with Ladd. Last year, I think he was just a target machine, right? Let's look at this, actually. Please don't make me sign in. Please don't make me sign in. Don't do it. Don't do it, Sleeper. Don't make me sign in. Okay, I'm signed. Wait. Okay, good. Good. Let's look at this really quick. Where the hell's Ladd? I don't know how to use Sleeper on desktop. This is crazy. Okay, players. Let's look up Ladd really quick. Ladd. He's on my team in this league, but I don't really pay attention to this one. Okay, Ladd, right? God, wish this menu was bigger. Okay. He was, I can't see around my mic. He was a target. He was a target vacuum. He was a target vacuum. And he's not even a huge after the catch guy, I feel like. But the Chargers just manufactured snaps for him. And you know what the difference was with Ladd? Genuinely. And I think the narrative is going to be Ladd's pissing me off. And I get that. But I think with Ladd, the Chargers ran the ball a ton last year. And they ran it really well. J.K. Dobbins had a resurgence. The O-line was looking great. But now that Rashawn Slater's out, they can't seem to run the ball. And Omarion Hampton looks good, but he's not getting much. And he fumbled. Najee Harris, clearly some tread on those tires. So I think that's the big thing with Ladd. Chargers can't run the ball as well. So he's not getting us open. Thus, QJ is the main man with 7 targets. Keenan Allen's getting 5 grabs. Keenan Allen getting 7 targets is not going to win you a playoff game. Malik Neighbors won me this week. Probably going to pick up Wandale off waivers. That's a must. Wandale being on waivers, that's a must. Really hope the Chiefs go on their decade-long try to being competent with Mahomes, but not winning anything like the Pats did. Hey, I feel like when it comes to coaching, the same combo we had about young QBs last year, we're too quick to praise, too quick to tear down young coaches before they're ready for the responsibility. Fair. Fair enough. Geno Smith and Chip Kelly are neither of those things, though. Geno Smith is not a young quarterback. We've seen Geno Smith. Chip Kelly, not a young coach. Like, I'm not trying to overreact, but does anybody think Chip Kelly's going to, like, have some resurgence and finally figure out the whole football thing? What is the bar for the Raiders? I'm a Giants fan. I get it. You can't win the Super Bowl every year. But, like, are the Raiders even going to make the playoffs within the next, like, half decade? What's the point of getting Tom Brady as a minority owner? Chip Kelly says he talks to Tom Brady 2-3 times a week. What do they talk about? What they had for breakfast? What do they talk about? I'm sure, like, I'm so underwhelmed by the Raiders. I thought this team would look so much better. No wonder Jacoby Myers wanted out. Yeah, he wants a new contract, but I think he was sitting in training camp thinking, man, this is going to be a long one. This is going to be a long year. And they were banking on Brock Bowers, but he's playing on one leg. Brock Bowers should not have played tonight. Straight up. And I think we all saw the missed pass interference. Derwin James clearly held Brock Bowers in the fourth quarter there. But Brock Bowers, if he's playing with both legs at 100%, he would have caught it anyway. He's a tight end. And a good one at that. But he's playing hurt because the Raiders have no offensive help. Dylan Lobb had two targets. This fella. The 5'9", 204-pound back out of New Hampshire. 6th-round pick last year. Dylan Lobb. Lob City, I guess. Ladd had 9 points while I had Debo on the bench. Should have stuck with my week 1 lineup. Yeah, Debo might be real in fantasy. Talking about Minter as a potential head coach candidate. No, but I'm saying, okay, that's fair enough. What I'm seeing with Minter more so is I see the Ravens DB coach, and I think that's nice. I think that's nice. And I didn't say he was going to get a job. I say he's going to get some looks. I think it's worth a shot. Look, I mean, it's a young coach. He has worked under both Harbaughs. And the Chargers defense looks really good. And more importantly, really well disciplined. Despite the Chargers offense doing everything they could to give the Raiders the ball as much as they could. I feel like the Raiders won the time of possession here. I feel like they did. And I don't even think it was close. Yeah, okay, they did. They won the time of possession and scored 9 points. That's ultimate bend, don't break. That is textbook bend, don't break. Patriots are not winning anymore. Yeah, no doubt. Wait, I may have missed one. The bar for the Raiders is beat the Niners. Well, I don't even think, do they have the Niners on the schedule? They do not. So, like, and the Raiders, we'll see. Raiders Commanders. It's funny. I just compared them. Let's find out. Let's find out. I think the Commanders going to win that one pretty steadily, but who knows? Maybe I'm spot on with the comparison. This felt like Commanders Packers, but a little bit worse because Geno turned it over 3 times. Uninspiring football. Really uninspiring football. I got 30 minutes out of that, all right? I don't know how I yelled about that game for 30 minutes. Let's move on. Let's move on to the game that I, don't have as much to say about, but it definitely was more fun to watch. The first game of the Monday Night Football slate. Buccaneers-Texans. This one is very simple. I have told you guys all season, CJ Stroud was sacked more than 50 times last year. And to respond to that, the Texans said, let's trade Laramie Tunsil. And this is what you get. This is what you get. I mean, and the only reason they were in this game was because Tampa is down their 2 offensive tackles. They're down both offensive tackles. So, what's the point? If you can't beat a team with this good defense, and the Texans defense is good. I'm just also reading the chat. But the Texans defense is good. I'm not going to say they're not. It's very much like the Chargers. Good defensive unit. The AFC is very much the defensive conference, and good for them. Great for them. But I'll say this. The Texans are 0-2, and they just lost in prime time at home as favorites. As favorites, Who do the Texans have next? Because this offensive line is not going to be able to stop anybody. Luckily for the Texans, they're in the AFC South. So they get to play Trevor. That's probably a win, almost definitely. We'll see about Cam Ward. We'll see. Maybe that'll be the game the Titans prove me wrong in me saying the Titans are going to lose every game. The Ravens is going to be a bloodbath. The Seahawks is going to be a bloodbath. The Niners, I don't know how that's going to go, but I think Nick Bosa is going to get through. Sacking CJ Stroud, one of his favorite things. Broncos, their defense doesn't look as good, but I definitely think they can get to the quarterback at least. Again, Jags, Titans, good for them. Bills, that's going to be a massacre. Colts, high-flying offense. Jury's still out on the Chiefs. I'll just defer talking about them for a little bit. Cardinals might be fine. Raiders might be fine. Chargers will be a just train wreck, provided the Chargers stay healthy. And then the Dan Jones Colts again. And the Raiders have a good pass rush. Hate it or love it. I don't think the Texans are going to win this division. I genuinely think the Colts are going to win this division, and handily. And I'm the Dan Jones hater. But I watched the Texans play tonight. I did some recap, some studying on how much of a disaster is going on in Jacksonville. I'm a Brian Thomas fantasy owner, and I'm pissed. If my team didn't do so well yesterday, I'd be livid right now about Brian Thomas. All they can do is run the ball. Trevor Lawrence looks terrible. And they're the Jags. They're 0-2. Or no, they're 1-1. They beat the Panthers. Congratulations. And the Titans are 0-2 as well. So I think the Colts are going to handily win this division. Now, I think the Texans, these are Rams and Bucks are their tougher games. And their average loss differential was 3 points. So it's easy to be like, oh, the Texans aren't that bad. They kept it close with 2 good teams. What I'm saying is, in the modern NFL, if you don't have a good offensive line, there's just no point. There's just no point. Raiders. And if you're going to send out this unit and you're going to get outgunned by Baker Mayfield, who's down a starting wide receiver and his 2 tackles, then at home, they couldn't run the ball all game. Nick Chubb had 1 good run. Nick Chubb doesn't run for 25 yards. The dude would have, what's 25 minus 43? 18. 18 yards. And obviously it's easy to be like, oh, well, you take away the biggest play, he would have done bad. But it's not that simple. Nick Chubb is their lead back, and they'll get Joe Mixon back, so it'll be better, maybe. God knows Joe Mixon's, tread on those tires as well. But if you can't block for your quarterback or run the ball, you're not going to win in January. They're not even going to get to January. Negan confidently thinks the Colts will win the division. Yeah. And it's kind of like a by default thing. It's like, what's I think this offseason is going to be a big telltale sign for general management offices. General managers. Build the offensive line. Please. Everyone build the offensive line. offensive linemen should get shot up the board. Really. Because if you can't block for your quarterback, you're also not going to be able to run the ball. And if you can't do either of those things, you won't move the ball. And then you will lose to Tampa on prime time when they're down both their tackles. Mike Evans got 11 targets. Derek Stingley more or less shut him down. Mike Evans had some good grabs, but more or less Derek Stingley had him on locks. Buck Irving was a backfield machine, at least catching the ball out of the backfield. He couldn't really run the ball super well. That's not true. But Sterling Shepard's getting work. Egbuka had some bad drops. Cade Otton getting involved. Ryan Miller, what a touchdown. What a guy. So, like, I don't know. Tampa's fun. Tampa's fun. The Baker Mayfield hurdle, which, like, let's just real quick. This was sick. This was sick. Baker was obviously playing hurt. The Texans roughed him up. Didn't matter. And I'll say this about tonight, which was weird, but it's weird because my next video is going to be about flags and about how flags are being called at an alarmingly high rate. And it's true. I did a lot of research today. In fact, hold on. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's go to my Google Drive. I did this today. Lot at play here. We got flags over weeks, types of flags, a lot of data entry. Doesn't seem like a lot. It was a lot. Had to do a lot of math today. But as you can see, 240 penalties called in week 1, and we're gonna get somewhere close to 220 in week 2, which, as you can see, is pretty high among other weeks, even weeks 1 and 2, pretty freaking high. So I'm gonna discuss this. Let's see what Negan said. To be fair, Mike Evans is not in his prime. Young DBs should be doing some work. I agree. But I just think Derek Stingley is just really good. I do. I think Derek Stingley is awesome. The Texans defensive line, really good. I think they had 4 sacks, maybe more. 4 sacks. 4 sacks. Tampa had 3. 3 and 4. And they were getting pressure the whole game. So, like, the proof is in the pudding. And I just want to say I was 2-0 in my predictions tonight. So if you bet every game that I predicted this week, I think I went what, 12-2, something like that, 12-4. I don't know, something like that. Pretty good week if you're tailing Hunnaball. I don't sports bet and I don't condone abusive sports betting, but I'm just saying, it's simple. It's simple. Block for your quarterback. He'll have time to throw the ball, and it'll also set up the run. The real stat to look at this game is pressures. Where would that be? 11-4. Thanks, Mahi. Where would that be? Pressures. Okay, wait. Let's see if PFF's updated yet. I don't think so, but let's find out. But I do agree. They got to the quarterback the whole time. But, like, let's see. It doesn't look like it. No, they didn't update it yet. Well, I don't know where else to find pressures, but I will say I agree. The numbers will come out, and it'll show that the Texans got home a bunch. Same thing with Tampa. It just felt like both D lines were going off. And it makes sense. Texans' offensive line is bad. Buccaneers' offensive line is beat up. Hopefully, Tristan Wirfs comes back soon. I don't know what the story is with the other Buccaneers' offensive lineman. I forget the fella's name. Buccaneers O-line. Let's find out, huh? Buccaneers O-line. Also, I think it's really funny Vita Vea plays without gloves. I realized that tonight. Okay, Luke Gedeke. I know I'm saying that wrong. But let's see what's going on with that fella, because this is the stream that follows offensive linemen. There he is. This is the stream that follows offensive linemen, right? Gedeke. What's the injury looking like? But what happened, though? Gedeke just got an extension, foot injury. Okay, so he played through it. He was able to barely practice. He barely shook it out. I'm assuming he just aggravated the injury, which isn't good. After hurting foot. Okay. Spotted on crutches. Well, that's not great. That's not great at all. Straight up, fellas, that's not good. I'm no doctor, but if your offensive lineman can't walk, it's not great. So maybe he'll be out a few weeks. Maybe he'll be out for the season. Who the hell knows? I hope he's not. Because this Tampa team could be really fun. This Tampa team could be really good. The Texans have started 2-0 for the last 4 games. And you know what? I hate doing this. I do. I'm pausing the music. I can't do it anymore. Let's chill out. This music's stressing me out. Music's stressing me out. It's way too exciting, way too intense for the games we just watched. Way too much. But I don't know, guys. I don't know what else to say. Is anybody... let me ask you guys this. I got a question. Is anybody on the East Coast kind of upset that the second game started at 10 Eastern? That's my question. That's my bigger takeaway. The NFL does a funny job with scheduling. I feel like they could have and definitely should have double stacked these games. I don't think we needed to see what NRG Stadium looks like at 4 in the or at 5 in the afternoon, and I don't think we needed to see Chargers Raiders at 10 o'clock Eastern. I think you could have stacked those games. The dual box is a thing now with YouTube TV. Some people could watch on their phone. I don't think people needed to see both of these games, to be honest with you. Obviously, the NFL didn't know that, but I don't know. Felt kind of cheap. Kind of felt cheap to put this game at 10 o'clock Eastern. So anybody on the East Coast, let me know. And while you guys do that, I want to check something real quick. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, fellas. I checked my hinge. I checked my hinge. That's what I was doing, guys. I wanted to give you guys some updates on my hinge. I'm on CST and the timing was too much. Yeah! Simple! Make the game accessible. That's one thing the NFL does better than the NBA, which, to be fair, is like comparing a horse to a bulldog in a race, but like, come on. They're both good, but we should probably be watching cars, right? Should probably be a little easier. That analogy got away from me. But you guys get what I'm saying, though. No hate to bulldogs. I have one. His name's Captain. Stud. I got a lecture in the morning. Yeah, bro. People got shit to do. And it's like, and Roger comes out. He does the Adam Silver. He's like, no one says you have to watch the games. It's like, no, it's a prime time. It's Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. You know, it's Monday Night Football. Get psyched. This is what we live for, right? You got the Raiders Chargers playing at 10. They're two West Coast teams. I get it, but like, I don't know, man. Do we have any more double headers? I'm sure we do. The NFL loves them. Do we have any more double headers? Let's see next week. I feel like we do. We don't. Lions Ravens is going to be a fun one, by the way. I'm excited. I am excited. Doesn't the NBA do it anyway? Doesn't the NBA do what? Sorry, the chat delay sometimes messes with me. I'm sure I'm just an idiot in this case, but yeah. The NBA puts games on whenever, but again, Adam Silver doesn't really care about the fans. Hot take. Wait, is there no Sunday night game? Oh, there is. It's Giants, Chiefs. I will say, though, a couple things about just the timing of this game. There were 3 1 o'clock games this week. Or if you're on the East Coast, 4 o'clock games. There were 3. There were Broncos, Colts, Panthers, Cardinals, Eagles, Chiefs. Clearly, they pulled one out and threw it on the Monday night doubleheader. Raiders, Chargers should have been at 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock. 4 Eastern. Raiders, Chargers should have been in the afternoon. I get it. It's Vegas. Give them their primetime game. I don't think the Raiders have another primetime game, at least unless it's a Thursday for the rest of the season. Yeah, they have a Thursday. They have another Monday night against Dallas. Boy, that's going to be a fun one. Maybe Gino will light them up. Maybe. The NBA does it at 10 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, but the NBA has... I do agree. The NBA does it, but once again, a couple things. Adam Silver doesn't care about the fans. 2, the NBA has a lot more games, so they have a lot more to schedule. And 3, most people can't even watch out of market games anyway, because once again, NBA, it's impossible to watch. So it's less of an issue. I do agree, though. I do agree. Another thing about the NBA is they're competing with the work day. The NBA has games throughout the week. They're kind of limited to like 4 o'clock and after. All of this would be shored up if the NBA just reduced its game count, but what do I know? What do I know? Holy hell. So the Raiders have back-to-back primetime games, and that's it. So we're going to get 2 more Raiders in primetime. All right. You know? We're going to get... The Cowboys are going to go to Allegiant Stadium and put in some work. Ashton Janty has 38 yards in the season. How many yards do you have tonight? I know it wasn't much. He had 38 on the season. And then he had 43 tonight. About 81, 82 yards. 81 yards. And I don't like it either. It interrupts my favorite Cinemax movie. There you go. I can't believe I didn't read that until now, Muhammad. Good point. But let me pause this before YouTube copyrights me. Shout out to Keenan Allen for catching a touchdown, though. Turning the clock back. Stud. But we'll see. We'll see with the Raiders. We'll see. Jacoby Myers, I see why he requested a trade. Perfect landing spot as Kansas City. The Raiders will never do that. But to be honest with you, if Ashton Jeanty's going to get 81 yards, again, the Raiders took him 6th in the draft. It's easy to say this in hindsight. Just trade down. Just trade down. If you're taking a non-power conference running back who doesn't have earth-shattering speed, Bijan went 7. And, like, I'm not going to say that felt like a reach, but it definitely felt like his ceiling. And I don't even know if Bijan was a better prospect than Ashton Jeanty, like, by the numbers. But it seemed like he had a lot more juice, a lot more athletic. Ashton Jeanty was described as the best running back prospect since Saquon. I would know better than anyone. Saquon's pretty good. Saquon's pretty good. And even on the Giants, even with no offensive line, even with all that stuff, yes, he was picked 4 picks earlier. But the fact that he got compared to Saquon, I don't know, it's kind of disrespectful. I like Ashton Jeanty. I don't have some anti-Ashton Jeanty agenda either. He didn't, like, do anything to me. I don't dislike him. I want him to be good. But I've seen 2 games of Ashton Jeanty. He scored a touchdown against the Patriots, but he had to, like, fall into the end zone. He's a power back in 2025 that the Raiders took 6th in the draft, ahead of offensive linemen and a tried and true wide receiver. And I know there were some red flags with T-Mac. I know he wasn't a perfect prospect, but, like, and maybe Loveland's not panning out. It's week 2. Anything could happen, but the Raiders general management has to really feel dumb right now. They really do. Who's the Raiders GM? I'm not saying the dude has to get fired. I'm just saying John Spytek, love that name. Busy offseason and an intelligently aggressive approach. That's what let's read this really quick. An intelligently aggressive approach, he says. There were some moments that were pretty emotional. Wait, what are we talking about here? I don't want to read something wrong. I don't want to read that a kid got sick or something. Okay, a kid did get sick. That sucks. I'm not going to make fun of him for that. That's a real shame. That's a real bummer, pal. No, I don't want to hate on this guy. How do you build resilience as a team culture? That was not a resilient team. How do you make a kind of culture more than words? Well, you hire a 75-year-old head coach. That's what you do. What made Smith the right quarterback for this team? 3 picks. That's what did it. Looking back, you know what I mean? You know what I, like, look, I don't want to read it. I feel so bad. I feel awful about this guy's kid. I'm not going to read anymore. I feel terrible about the fella's kid. Point is that intelligently aggressive only gets you so far. Sometimes you just got to be intelligent. Hot take. Jancy's just on a crappy team. I don't disagree, but if you've watched okay, let's do this. First of all, let's pull it up. Anyone want to watch Suits? Here we go. NFL needs to investigate this. Okay, yeah, great. Isaac Punts beat me to the punch. That's great. I'm doing a much more detailed look at flags, by the way. Much more detailed. But where is it? Here comes the copyright, but it doesn't matter. Let's turn off the sound. Okay. Let's wait until we see Ashton Jeanty run, because he's a glorified fullback. That's so messed up. But, like, he's you know, he's better in blocking in the backfield than anything else. Okay, yeah, so we watched. Okay. Hell of a blocker. Look at this block Jeanty pulls off. Squares up with Khalil Mack. That was solid. Good for him. And you know what I said? I didn't blame Geno for that first pick. I do. That was not a good read at all. Trey Tucker he put Trey Tucker in harm's way. Trey Tucker was lucky to not have his season ended right there. There goes Herbert, the Chargers' leading rusher. That fella, Harris, has got to catch that, by the way. But where's Jeanty? Let's just find a Jeanty run really quick. Wait, hold on. Again, Jeanty. Well, he blew the pass blocking there. They're playing him like a fullback. I just want one Jeanty run. One. Also, Gino thinks he's like Pat Mahomes. It's ridiculous. Gino, like, I get that the Chargers defense wasn't giving him much. Gino's rolling around as if some receiver's going to get wide open. I wish, this is one of those games I wish you could switch to the all-22. I really wanted to see what Gino was seeing because he took years in the pocket rolling around. And when he takes the check down at the worst times, like 3rd and 12. The one time to not take the check down, Gino does. Let me read what you guys said, though, really quick. Bijan was a better prospect than Janty. I agree, Negan. Gino did him no favors today, but I feel like it's better when you're ahead by a bit. Yeah, no doubt. You said give QB some time. Let's give Janty some time. I disagree. Running backs, we're allowed to judge running backs. Running back is a lot less of a mental position. It's a lot more physical. And Travion's got juice. What other rookie running back looked good? I'm blanking on his name. Bashal Tootin. He's got juice. He looked good. It's 2 games. Not trying to overreact. I just want to pull up a Janty run and tell you guys what I'm talking about. Bijan is better than Janty IMO. Same. Bijan's like Saquon. He just needs to be on a better team to utilize his skill set. I agree. NFL only has room for one power back, King Henry. Janty reminds me of Josh Jacobs, who he's replacing on that team. I see. Gino, like, I completely agree. Gino was seeing ghosts. The lights were too bright. Hampton looks quicker. There's Ladd. Herbert sacked. Chargers O-line was fine. I wish they were better, but again, they lost their best blocker, so I get it. Good catch, Keenan. This game was a snooze. This game was a total snooze. And the fact that I have to scroll this deep into the highlights to find the run from the 6th overall pick in the draft, who was one of, if not the best college football player last year, kind of a train wreck, kind of a disaster. Yes, the Raiders aren't giving him any help, but also Gino just doesn't slide. He's over it. Gino was pissed off this game. Gino was literally so flustered this game. You could tell it immediately. The Raiders didn't give him much help. I completely agree. But at a certain point, as a quarterback, you got to overcome it. Here it is. Finally. Where are we? 6:51 in the second quarter. I did talk about how bad the Texans line was for a while. All right, here we go. He's strong. He's really strong. He deserves credit for that. He's really strong. He has good vision, good center of balance. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but wouldn't you rather see the 6th overall pick in the draft just explode out of this gap? Yes, the Chargers defense got through. I think that's Derwin. Maybe. No, that's 0. I've blanked who that is. I can't see his name. Henley. That's his name. But okay, the last time I watched this, I'm just saying. Wouldn't you rather see him have some more juice? I don't think there are any Raiders fans here. That's just my stance. Not an Ashton Janty hater. I hope he does well. Clearly, the O-line is not doing him any favors. That was Zamir White, but I'm just saying. Clearly, the O-line wasn't doing him any favors. I'm just saying, copyright be damned, you're showing us the game. Yeah. Am I paused? Did the NFL pause me again? If the NFL paused me again, I'm going to be pissed. Let me see really quick. Seems like it didn't, but let me make sure. Okay, no, it didn't. Thank God. All right. Can't believe the Texans decided to take a Vikings cast off guard, Ed Ingram, and decided to start him there for 4 years on tape. He's been bad for all 4. Ed Ingram? Yeah, cast off guard. Yeah. I don't know why I thought you were talking movies. Cast off guard. I agree. Weird. Texans O-line. Terrible. Thank you, Mahi, for saying I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Chat delay. But this is what I mean when I say juice. I don't even know. Maybe I'm just making this up. Maybe I'm just trying to push a narrative that's not there. Because Omarion Hampton didn't have a super strong game either. But Omarion Hampton, I feel was advertised as the power back. This is a great play, by the way. Pitch and catch. It's a great play. Illegal broadcast. As if the NFL doesn't post these. As if the NFL just doesn't understand what fair use is. There he is. There's our boy. The sixth round pick that got 2 reps. I was getting work as a running back. There he is. I'm blanking on the fella's name, but he's a beast. It's also open there, Gino. This was the play. I'm your check down's right in front of you, Gino. This is a first down. And I know that he already threw it, and I know that you can't throw it between these guys. Gino, you float this over the D tackle, and it's a first down. He says no way. He skies it into double coverage so that Thornton can have a 50-50 ball, more like a 10-90 ball with this ball. What are we doing here? Trey Tucker is like in shock. Trey Tucker doesn't know what the hell's going on. He can't believe Gino threw it. Trey Tucker's playing linebacker. Tony Jefferson, how is he still playing? And he's playing at a high level. Gino threw this better to Jefferson. He underthrew a double covered pass. What the hell? It's easy to bash on Gino, but my God. Also, doesn't Thornton look like Hopkins? I know that sounds like kind of bad, but like, just like the whole look, the sleeves, the hair, the nose tape. Like, if you showed me this, I would say, oh, geez, DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Raiders? I didn't know that. Like, it's nuts. I miss having a good running game. AP and Dalvin Cook were so good to us, but the QBs then sucked. AP was insane. Adrian Peterson was insane. We'll never see another Adrian Peterson again. A guy comes back from a torn ACL, gets 2,000 yards. Adrian Peterson was awesome. John, you got me reminiscing. I'm not even a Vikings fan. Prime Dalvin Cook was fun, too. For like those 4 or 5 years. And I remember, who was their backup? God, who was Dalvin Cook's backup that always put on? Was it Ty Chandler? No. It wasn't Toby Gerhart. There was a Vikings backup that anytime Dalvin Cook went down, he was like a free start in fantasy. I'm just blanking on the fella's name. Like, and yes, it was basically an arm punt. I got to think of the Vikings wide receiver, this Vikings running back. I know John who knows who I'm talking about. Who? Damn it. It's not Toby Gerhart. I'm blanking on the fella's name. I'll look it up. Madison. It was Alexander Madison. Damn it. It was Alexander Madison. Good call. Good call. Boone was something. Latavius Murray was fun for a season or two, but it was Alexander Madison. A free start. A free start. Latavius Murray was cool too, though. I always felt confident starting Alexander Madison. In fact, sometimes I was more confident in Madison than I was Dalvin Cook. But to be fair, Thornton was a deep ball, high point receiver out of Tennessee. No, I agree. Like, I agree. And I get that it's an arm punt. I do. And it's easy to play armchair quarterback. But Gino was looking for the home run way too many times. I feel like his eyes were downfield the whole game, and the Chargers gave him nothing. So he got super frustrated, and that's why he threw 3 picks. Like, there's nothing, right? There's nothing, because Pete Carroll doesn't know how to drop, or Pete Carroll or Chip Kelly doesn't know how to drop an offense, right? Because you have this fella who, you know what? I'm looking up the dude's name. I'm sick of this. I'm looking up the dude's name. I gotta shout him out. Give credit where it's due. He's our boy. He's our boy, Dylan Lobb. Why don't you just lob it to Lobb? You got Dylan Lobb right there, right? Look at this. We'll watch it slower, right? I think that's Jacoby Myers right there in that box. It's like the Chargers played with like 12 guys on defense. They just out-schemed him. Like, Myers isn't open here. And then you have, like... Oh, no, that's Myers. I don't know who the hell that fella is. Maybe it's Bowers. I don't know. Knowing Chip Kelly, Bowers probably isn't even on the damn field. But on a 3rd and long. But you got Myers, who's double covered. And then you have Trey Tucker and Thornton overlapping with each other. What kind of play call is this? Why are 2 wide receivers overlapping with each other? Does Chip Kelly not understand what spacing is? Again, easy to play armchair quarterback. Easy to play armchair coordinator. But does Chip Kelly not understand that doubles the chance of it getting intercepted or at the very least deflected? It's not a Hail Mary. It's 3rd down. It's 3rd down. And if I remember correctly, the ball was not at the 20-yard line. They're almost in Chargers territory here. They're almost in Chargers territory here. The 1st down puts them in Chargers territory. You float this up to Lobb, and he gets the 1st, and you're home cooking. But the fact that the Chargers can get this much pressure sending 4 is a cheat code. It's a cheat code. Chip Kelly's still thinking this is college. That is exactly what my takeaway was. I can rip on Janty just because he kind of looked slow, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He's a good running back. He seems like a nice dude as well. I hope he figures it out, and I think going to the Raiders was a death sentence, frankly. Do I think he was worth the 6th overall pick? Probably not. I think we can comfortably say he probably wasn't worth the 6th overall pick right now today. At least not for this team. But my biggest takeaway is that Pete Carroll coaches like he's 75 years old, And Chip Kelly's an idiot. Chip Kelly's a damn fool. He's a moron. And I've never coached in the NFL, but I coach a youth flag team, and even I know that this... And maybe Trey Tucker shouldn't have ran to the complete other side of the field. But, like, come on. You guys get it. Come on, though. Come on. This had no chance. I get end of the half arm punt. But it wasn't a good ball. And you don't, like... They gave the Chargers all the momentum they possibly could. I say Omarion Hampton had juice, and then there are plays like that. Could be worse. Could draft Dan Jones with a 6th pick. Well, that's a good point. I should have... I wish I was streaming when Dan Jones got picked 6th overall. I wish I could say that's the most upset I've been as a Giants fan, but it's not even top 5. Not even top 5. I will say... No, it's fine, John. Bring it. Bring it. Honestly, I like the animosity. I like the negative energy. I do. I prefer it. When James was being all nice to me yesterday, it's like, you guys have a good squad. Well, a good game. I was like, James, I don't need it. I don't need that, pal. Chirp if you want. But I get it. John Lee, Vikings fan. Vikings fans are always nice. I will tell a story about a Vikings fan that I met and didn't like, though. I will talk about that. But, you know, I mean, this game happened, right? This was weird, by the way. You're up 11, and you don't go for this 4th and goal from the 2 against the Raiders. What's the worst thing that could happen? They didn't score a touchdown. I don't know. Weird coaching. Really weird coaching. And the Chargers, sometimes it felt like the Chargers did everything they could to keep the Raiders in this game. Another just fantastic ball out of Geno Smith really quick. Straight into Bauer's knee. Straight into Bauer's knee. Great catch by him. But right into the bum leg. And if the Raiders didn't wear black socks, I think it would be a lot more apparent that Brock Bowers did not look slow, did not look quick. Because the knee brace blends in with the sock, but Brock Bowers was not moving well at all. Any Brock Bowers drafters out there, I'd be worried. I'd be really worried. This was kind of a cool play out of Jacoby Myers. I thought that was fun. But 3rd and 17, felt very Giants. You have to kick up, and this was weird too. 3rd and 17, they send 4 for the first time all game. You have good blocking up front. Yes, Bud Dupree kind of got through. But that's when you throw the check down, Geno. That's when you throw the check down. I think that's Zamir White. Maybe Trey Tucker. I think it's Zamir White, though. That's when you throw the check down? Really? I don't know, dude. I hated that. Easy to play armchair quarterback, but I hated that. I hated everything about that. So then you have to kick. Of course, Carlson makes it. And I think this was the final score, right? 20-9? Yep. That's all we're going to watch. That's all we're going to watch. Having Bowers and McBride in the same team is crazy. And I think you're in a 10-man, right, Jarv? It's a 10-man? That's crazy. I like the double stack, though. Why not? But that's where I'm at. Those are the big things. I talked about the Texans O-line. So let me tell a quick story about the Vikings fan that I met that I didn't like. Team has a bunch of okay players offensively, but no home run hitters. That is a great way to put it. You'd think Brock Bowers is a home run hitter relative to his position, but if he's going to be playing on one leg and Geno's not going to be able to get him the ball, because Geno had some ducks. We watched some of them just now, but Geno had some ducks, man. He was not throwing the ball well. Not that he had a bunch of time, but Geno did not have a good game. But let's move on. Honestly, I think we get it. I've beat this horse so dead. The Raiders didn't look good. The Chargers looked good, but I don't think it means as much as people are going to think. Okay. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a really fun one. Who's excited for Dolphins-Bills? But before I do that, I want to pull this up. I'm not going to watch it. I just want to have a good backdrop. I don't want to upset you, John. Okay. Story time. Quick story. Ultimate safety blanket when healthy. I completely agree. Also, I just changed the chat overlay to black. I already hate it. I'm going to change it back to white. I don't like how this looks. Straight up. I did it because my background yesterday was white and it just didn't go. I don't know, fellas. So sorry. Like, right as he switched it off. I don't know what we're talking about now. I lost it. But the stream, what do you mean the stream went out? Oh my god. Oh my god. Am I like back or no? Am I back or what the hell happened? I am... My back... I've wised up. Am I back? Get a look at that. Get a look at that. Get a look at that. Quick turnaround. Who would have thought? Who would have thought YouTube can't silence me? Huh? Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So next time I get copyright claimed, let me know. I appreciate you guys letting me know this time. If it happens again, just know that I figured out how to fix it. So if it happens again, look, the NFL is going to keep doing its thing. There's nothing the NFL loves more than shutting down free advertising. It's great. What do you mean the audio and video aren't synced? What the hell am I supposed to do about that? What the hell? How am I supposed to fix that? What the hell? They're synced. They're synced. Cut me some slack, Jack. All right. Story time. The NFL can't copyright this. All right. Here we go. So, John, you're a Vikings fan. I'm sure you remember the 2022 Vikings-Giants 2-game series. The first game was on Christmas Eve, and I was in North Carolina visiting family. Fun thing about North Carolina, there's not much to do. Not much fun stuff to do. And I was just as much a Giants fan, maybe a little bit less, but still, you know, sporting Big Blue very heavily, because 2022 was the one good season we had in the last decade. The Giants have had one good season, if you don't count the boat year. Giants have had one good season. Giants had a winning record, looked like they were good to make the playoffs, coming off a big win against Washington, the then football team, maybe Commanders, I don't remember. And I was having a tough year. Thank God that the Giants figured it out. Because if they didn't, I may not be sitting here today. I talked about my ex-girlfriend on the last stream. Her and I were in the thick of it at this point, and it was hell. Absolute agony. And my release from that was going to North Carolina to visit my family. What do you mean the audio's messed up? I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. The audio's fine. If the audio's not working for you, just leave and rejoin the stream. Because the audio's fine. At least I think. Yeah, just leave and refresh. YouTube doesn't understand. YouTube could give a shit about creators. We all know this. We all know this. I am in North Carolina with my family watching this game. Okay? And the Giants played a well-fought game against the Vikings. But surprise, surprise, they lost because a kicker nailed a 50-plus yard kick. Surprise, surprise. The Giants played a better game, penalties screwed them, and they ended up losing off a long kick. Sound familiar? I'm living through hell. But anyway, I watched that game, Christmas Eve. It looked like the Giants were going to be the 6th seed. Or no, it looked like the Giants were going to be the 6th seed, and it looked like the Vikings were going to be the 3rd seed. And the Giants lost that game, and I was hot. It was the worst thing I could have had on Christmas Eve. And I saw that game, and I knew. I said, I hope to God we play this team in the playoffs because we can beat this team. John knows it better than anyone. Ed Donatel was a goddamn idiot and had no business coaching that Vikings team, which was on a hell of a run, by the way. But I knew the Giants were the better team. And I go to this Christmas party in North Carolina with my family. I go inland, rural North Carolina. Again, nothing to do besides watch football on my phone. I get to this Christmas party, and I say party loosely. There were some chairs. Someone ordered like a pizza. I'd hardly call it a shindig. All right, it wasn't a barn burner. I wasn't having a blast watching but I was watching football on my phone, trying to distract myself from another heartbreaking Giants loss. Of course, the neighbor walks in, and I don't want to be mean, but he was a porky fellow. He was quite large. You know, if I was squinting, I would have thought he played for the goddamn Vikings. Okay? He was giant. Like, it was ironic because I was the Giants fan. Dude was massive, horizontally and vertically, wearing a bright purple pullover with the Vikings logo front and center. Where in NC? Belmont area. Belmont area. Belmont area. But more south. I don't remember where the family party was. We drove like 30 minutes inland. But Belmont area. Belmont, Gaston County area. Salute. But not a ton to do. This dude walks in. Giant dude with a double XL purple Vikings pullover. And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, God, this guy's going to start talking to me about football. The last person I wanted to see. A Cowboys fan could have walked through the door and I would have been happier. And that's saying a lot. And I'm sitting there watching football on my phone. And it's a bunch of old heads at this party. So they're like, hey, Hunter, can you get that on the TV? Of course, they have cable. So, like, I can't project it to the DirecTV cable box. But they found a Roku. They found some old beat-up Roku that they plugged into the TV. And they're like, do what you can do. So I sign up for the NFL app, because that's the only thing that was working with Roku. I made an account. I put it on my credit card. It took me like 20 minutes, but I had nothing to do because, again, this party was boring as shit. And this guy, after putting on the game for him, so we could all watch, I think it was Steelers versus someone. Sunday Night Football, Christmas Eve 2022. I'm sure someone can look it up, but you don't need to. I turn on the game, do everybody a favor. No one thanks me. No one says, oh, wow, Hunter, you're a pretty sharp cookie. Smart cookie. Sharp knife, whatever you prefer. No one gives me my flowers, my credit, my props. I wanted it. It was Christmas Eve. I just watched my Giants lose a game they should have won. And I'm watching football, and I'm kind of just, trying to analyze it, trying to study the game a little bit, enjoy what I could on Christmas Eve. And the guy asked me, he's like, so, what team you pulling for? I'm like, to be honest, I don't really care. He's like, oh, what's your favorite team? And I could be in the center of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with a gun to my head. If someone asked me what my team was, Steelers, Raiders, there it is, Mahi. If I could have a gun to my head in the middle of Philadelphia, and if they asked me what my team was, I'm saying the Giants. Pull the trigger, I'm saying the Giants. So I was not about to slow roll it. So I say, I'm a fan of the New York Giants. And this fat bastard, this guy who looked like Santa Claus, but on December 26th, best way I could describe him, starts laughing at me, spitting on me. Dude's drunk at this point, spitting on me. Not like, tuh, but like, the Giants, we beat your ass today. We kicked the shit out of you guys. And I'm at a family function. So it takes everything, and I mean everything in my soul, to not say, listen, guy, if you actually watched the game and you actually knew football like I did, you would know that the Giants are the better team. Didn't say that. This was not the kind of fan that knew who Ed Donatel was. This was the kind of fan that could name 2 players on the roster. Whatever. Everybody is allowed to enjoy football in a different facet. But the fact that this dude, who clearly didn't watch the game, was telling me that his team that played worse than mine kicked our ass, effectively ruined Christmas. So while Vikings fans are almost always nice, friendly people, John is a great example. But everybody else, not everybody else, but this one guy set an awful, terrible precedent for Vikings fans. So while I respect you as a person, John, and I respect the Vikings for what they've gone through as a team, they've had some really fun and sick players, this one guy, this one dude, I don't even remember his name, soured me on Vikings fans forever and ruined Christmas Eve 2022. And need I remind you, I was already having a pretty tough year. Thank God the Giants made the playoffs. And when the Giants beat the Vikings, all I could do was think about where Big Boy was at the time, just laughing to myself, thinking not only did the Giants win, but that dude is somewhere, probably in a bar, punching the air right now. And I hope he remembers Hunnaball. That's my story. I could talk about that much more passionately than I can about Texans Bucks or Raiders Chargers. But that's my story of the night. John said something. 1,000 bet Vikings fan bet said Vikings fan is also mad JJM's not the second coming of TB12. Maybe. This is the kind of guy that probably doesn't know. He's like, who's this new quarterback we have? Where the hell's Kirk? That's probably what this guy said. Honestly, nothing is worse. And you guys seem to all know ball pretty well. Nothing is worse than someone who clearly doesn't know football making fun of you when you know what happened. I talked about it yesterday when that chick texted me about the Cowboys beating the Giants. There's nothing more infuriating than when you devote your life to football and you actually watch the games, but the result doesn't go your way, so stupid people think that they're right and you're wrong. Nothing is worse. Death is not worse. I made money off my own because I told him after that Vikings loss we would win if we met them in the playoffs, and look what happened. Look what happened. Good prevailed, and I'm sorry, John, but the Giants deserved both wins. And I'm glad that the Vikings fired Ed Donatel. What an awful defensive coordinator he was. He got sliced up and carved by Dan Jones, who's now doing the same in Indy. The Giants were the problem, though. We won a playoff game with him. What do you mean we were the problem? Brian Dable was the coach of the year in 2022. We paid this guy. We paid him instead of our franchise running back. What do you mean we were the problem? So that's my spiel. That's my spiel. That's my nightly story. Back to my prediction. I'll let you guys reel that in. I'm glad we lost. That was the ending of the Kirko era and Ed Donatel. Exactly. Now you guys are on to bigger, better things. Jage looks awesome. I didn't know Jage got hurt. Do we have an update on him? Obviously, I know he's going to miss next week. Carson Wentz is going to miss time. I didn't even talk about that last night. I didn't even see it. But Jage at 1-0. So funny. He didn't post 1-1. But expected to miss week 3 for sure. Could be out multiple weeks, right? I think I saw it 3 to 4. 3 to 4 was it? I'm sure you know, John. 2 to 4. 2 to 4 weeks, high ankle sprain. I'm not going to call him injury prone, but he's been hurt twice already. He's played 2 games. He's going to have missed 18 by the end of next week. 2 to 4 weeks, high ankle sprain. And we got Flores is so much better. Arguably the reason we did it so good last year. I completely agree. Brian Flores is a stud. And he's one of those guys. I don't know when or if Brian Flores is going to get another head coaching job, mainly because the whole lawsuit thing. If he stays the coordinator, he will be like Spags level of just like legendary set and forget defensive coordinator. He is awesome. I fear a Brian Flores defense. And that's why I think even though the Vikings are kind of in dire straits right now, especially with the Jage injury, the offense hasn't looked good at all. You still can't count out a Brian Flores defense. I think when do the Vikings play the Lions? Let's see. Let's find out when the Vikings play the Lions. Because I think that game's going to be a lot closer than what people would think right now. Vikings-Bengals, that's going to be a fun one. I think the Vikings are going to take that one. 2 backup quarterbacks going head-to-head. That's going to be a really fun one. It's going to be a really fun game. 11-2. 11-2, and then the week before it ends, on Christmas Day, live on Netflix. I do think the Vikings are going to have a chance. If you look down the barrel of the Vikings, I think Bengals should be fun. I think the Steelers looks like an international game. 2 international games. Boy, what the hell? 2 international games in a bye week. Sure, at least it's against Cleveland. Let me move the chat down. I can't figure out this chat thing. Whatever. This is the first time being injured. The meniscus tear, there was only 2 injuries ever, I think. Yeah, but, I mean, again, not going to say I'm going to call him injury prone, but he has been injured a lot. It's true things. And Jaden did get hurt, but it seems like he'll maybe miss a week max. Knee sprain. He'll be fine. The Burrow injury is devastating, though. It seems like Burrow's going to miss the whole year. It seems like the Bengals are being hush-hush about it, but it seems like Burrow's going to miss the whole year, which would be not a great thing. Toe surgery. Could you imagine getting surgery on your toe? Is anybody in here? I'm assuming no. But has anybody in here gotten turf toe surgery? That just seems like a weird procedure. Just watching like your toe get sliced open and be like, well, that's 3 months of not being able to walk comfortably. You know? And I hear turf toe doesn't happen in soccer because they play on grass. So, again, with We can talk about player safety and health all we want. At the end of the day, quarterbacks are getting hurt at an alarming rate. As you can see, hour 3, Monday, quarterbacks are injured. Hannah Storm discussed it on NFL Live. Not going to play because I don't want the NFL to get me again. But, yeah. Not a tough schedule out of the Vikings. Eagles is going to be a tough one. Chargers is going to be a big test. That's a primetime Thursday night game. That'll be fun, at least color scheme-wise. Lions will be fun. This schedule gets so much tougher. Oh, my God. This schedule gets difficult out of nowhere. Oh, my God. The Vikings come back from the bye and have really tough sledding. I don't know if the Bears are all that, but at least, maybe. Who knows? They're kind of a wild card. The Seahawks have a good defense. We all know how I feel about the Commanders, and I got news for you, John. I'll tell you who I'm taking in this one. New York Giants. All right. I dislocated my foot once. Yeah, well, that's fair. How do you dislocate it? How does that work? I just said that's fair. Didn't even register it. How do you dislocate a foot? I mean, I get it. Like it gets out of the socket, but that sounds weird. It sounds painful. I have a bunch of stress fractures in my foot, so I get it. Foot injuries are a pain in the ass, but sometimes you got to play through it. I'm more specifically talking toe injuries. I saw this on Twitter, but the term turf toe is too light for what the injury actually is. Well, best typer in football. Wait. Oh, lordy. Oh, man. Oh, I can see how that's painful. I can see how that's a big deal. The joint of the big toe. See, my dumb ass, my stupid ass thought that, this is so funny, but I thought that it was just kind of like a sprain on the inside of like your big toe, like on the top almost, so you got to like cut off the nail and go in and just kind of straighten out the bone a little bit. I didn't realize it was a full-on joint injury. My God. This may be a little too much for you squeamish people out there. Good Lord. Okay, when you put it like that, I thought it was like gout. That's the best way to put it. I thought it was gout. I was wrong. This does not look fun. This does not look fun at all. I couldn't imagine being a wide receiver and getting a grade 3 turf toe. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, enough feet pics. Enough. Falling out of a tree, but I landed on a foot. The weight pushed out of place. Jesus. Sorry to hear that, Mohammed. Glad you're doing okay now. I saw a spider one time on my hardwood floor stairs, and I slipped and fell down. Sprained my ankle. Felt really stupid. And I wish I could tell you that was the most embarrassing injury I've had, but I've given myself 2 concussions, both by jumping into ceilings and door frames. But that's a different story for a different day. It also did start with a foot injury, that as well. Another sprained ankle. My ankles are weak. I'm like Steph Curry. I got to wear braces everywhere I go. I remember when Julio had it and everyone was complaining that he should have played. Yeah, bro. They're like, oh, it's turf toe. Who cares? My buddy had it once. My buddy, who was also named Hunter, shout out Hoodod, Texans fan. He's probably really happy tonight. But yeah, he had it one time, baseball player, and he was like, I got turf toe. It's a real pain. And I'm like, dude, man up. I don't care. They got to rename it. What's a good like rename for a turf toe? Stretched big toe? That sucks. Extended big toe? That sucks. That sounds like a chiropractor kind of move. I know that turf toe is probably a nickname. What is it actually called? What is the medical name for turf toe? It is, but what is it medically called? Rice. Yeah, that's it. Medical name. It is a, okay, I can see why they don't call it this. I can see why they don't go by this. Metatarsophiolangeal. One more time. Metatarsophiolangical. Metatarsophiolangeal. Close enough. MTP joint sprain. I can see why they go with turf toe. Ouch. OUCH, ouch. JH out for 2 to 4 weeks. Not with a turf toe, but we're talking about quarterbacks. Super gout. There it is. That's a good one. I like that. Super gout. Yes. It's got my vote. Super gout. Done. This is why a comment section is so helpful. Instead of just rambling off like an idiot, I would have never thought of super gout. There it is. There it is. Guys, we fixed the medical field. We found a better name for turf toe. Shout out to John. But yeah. So Jade is hurt. Jaden Daniels is hurt. I wonder if there's just... did I miss any quarterback injuries? Because Purdy's out, right? Justin Fields, concussion. Not the same thing, but it does count. So Burrow's got a turf toe. He showed immediate discomfort, hopped off the field, then went to the locker room where he's ruled out with a left toe injury. Let's watch the clip, actually. Boy. What about the hit, huh? What about the hit? Can we see the hit? Ah. Damn, not in the shattered backboard ones, too. Those are some nice cleats. Jeez. That sucks. I couldn't imagine going to this game and watching Joe Burrow get hurt like that. Let's see it. Ah. Yeah, you can tell what happened. I'm now a casual Giants fan because of you. Yes! Yes! We did it! Wait, hold on real quick. Wait. Do we get a better angle? Okay, we're not going to be able to see it. Yeah, we are. So there you can see the toe just kind of... I wish I had a shoe on me. You guys get it. The toe just went like that, right? It just like bent. It just bent really bad. I can totally see why that's a grade 3 turf toe. As a doctor, I can see a grade 3 turf toe there. That looks like half his foot's cut off from this angle. If you really zoom in, let me switch to the OBS. If you really zoom in here, that looks like half his foot's gone. Armstead has his arm steady around that toe, man. So there it is. So Burrow, I get it. He's probably done for the year, which is a really anticlimactic way to end your season, but, you know, if the shoe fits. Jaden Reed, we all saw that injury. Broken collarbone. That's a damn shame. But the Packers will be fine. The Packers rotate receivers like it's nothing. Streamed down again. Are you serious? I watched a 40-second Twitter clip. Oh my God. All right. All right, YouTube's got me. YouTube has me in their crosshairs. So for the rest of tonight at least, maybe going forward, we refresh the audio if you didn't already. YouTube has me in their crosshairs. They got an NFL bot watching this stream like a hawk. So we will not watch any more 40-second Twitter clips on stream. My God. My God. Let me make sure everything's up and running again. My God. What is going on? This shit is so annoying. Okay. Hold on. This is really great. I love doing this. I love watching 40-second Twitter clips and getting got by YouTube. Am I back? What the hell do I have to do? What do I have to do? Oh my God. All right, let's see here. No emails. Okay. As long as I'm not getting emails, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I'm aware it was interrupted. My God. Am I back? All right. Took YouTube a minute. Okay, it took YouTube a minute. All right, guys. Clearly a YouTube bot is sitting here camping my streams now. Real exciting stuff. Refresh the stream if you haven't already. Thank you to everybody who stayed here for the last 60 seconds while I figure this out. Clearly you're not allowed to watch 40-second Twitter clips on your live stream anymore. The NFL is crazy. The NFL is so crazy, man. It's honestly kind of laughable at this point. But like, at a certain point, like, what's the line? That you can't watch a clip from an NFL game? Is that where we're at? Oh boy. Gets so frustrating. All right. Then from here on out, at least for the next, I don't know, for the rest of the night at least, Kyle Juszczyk got hurt. At least for the rest of the night, I won't open a single NFL clip because clearly we're getting camped here by NFL bots that are here to take all of my stream revenue, all negative 10 cents of it. One of the last dictatorships in the world. What a line. Can't agree more. Can't agree more. Fantasy sports literally didn't even include the Jaden Daniels or JJ McCarthy injury. That's really exciting. But Jage is out. Yeah. So maybe the NFL doesn't appreciate me talking about how they're not protecting their quarterbacks well. Maybe that's it. Anytime I disrespect the NFL, they really tend to drop down the hammer. Yeah, how dare I steal revenue from the struggling NFL? Let's look that up, actually, really quick. NFL net profit 2024. It's not publicly available. However, league-wide revenue exceeded $23 billion. And they did that by copywriting streamers. They're like, watch the NFL game on YouTube with Kai Cenat. Watch the NFL game on YouTube with Tom Grossi. Not Kai Cenat, Speed. Tom Grossi. See, we care about the fans. We'll give you a game for free. And it's like, if they're going to be this strict about copyright rules, like they put that video during every NFL game. The NFL, any unauthorized use of this is strictly prohibited. But they don't outline what unauthorized use is. Like, I just don't see the point of being like, well, he's playing a clip from the stream, from the game that happened yesterday. We're losing ad revenue. Someone could be in this stream and not watching our videos, not watching our shitty highlights that we put up every day. The NFL puts on this many videos. The NFL they don't even show subscribers. And I'm not subscribed, by the way. They don't even show subscribers. They put on these many videos, and they think the solution is to copyright the streams that play clips like this, as if that doesn't make them more accessible. Big ad for the YouTube banner. I much prefer my Dan Jones one. Well, YouTube's being a real pain tonight, but you know what they can't do? YouTube can't copyright my Hinge profile, and I matched with a girl that wants me to fix her fantasy football team. So I think I'm going to go for it. In Madden 26, and it said my caller's number was 5'10", as in 5'10" inches. This game is crap. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. No one's going to disagree with you, John. Game sucks. That game sucks. But yeah, this girl, Amanda, looking for someone to manage her fantasy team. She found the right guy. Anyways, that's all I really have to say about the games that happened tonight. I told my nightly story. So let me close with this. Before the NFL sees this clip in the corner and then copyrights me again. Pause. All right. Dolphins, Bills. Do I need to preview Dolphins, Bills? How much are the Bills going to win by? I think the spread said 8.5. I'll verify that. How much are the Bills going to win this game by? Genuinely. At home against the Dolphins. Why is that a Thursday night game? How much are the Bills going to win this game by? Because no one actually thinks the Dolphins are going to win. The spread, let's go to touchdown wire. Spread is 12.5. Good God. Do you talk to your neighbors about yesterday? I actually didn't. I meant to, but then I slept in. Don't copyright me, Florio. I slept in. 12.5, guys. Do the Dolphins cover 12.5? I think so. Genuinely. I'm so out on the Dolphins, but they're 0-2. This is the kind of game the Bills look just a little weak in. And I just think that 12.5, that's where I'll say division opponent in a primetime game covers the spread. I didn't say it about Raiders-Chargers. I didn't say it about Chiefs-Chargers. I don't even make a prediction for Chiefs-Chargers spread. What was the other game we talked about? It was Monday night last week. It was, damn it, what game was it? My memory sucks right now. Monday Night Football last week was the Bears Vikings. That's right. And I believe the Vikings were favored. I believe. Yes, the Vikings were favored, I believe. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So I don't think the Bills are going to cover 12.5. I could be wrong on that, but that's my take. What do you guys think, though? Bills cover 12.5? And then after that, we can call it for today. I should talk to my neighbors tomorrow, though. I should apologize. I know exactly what I'm going to say. Just be like, sorry about all the noise on Sunday. I'm a Giants fan if you can't tell. ... I hate my life. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hunnaball. And attach a Starbucks gift card that I'd be re-gifting because I don't drink coffee. Why would I need coffee when I watch the New York Giants? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm still hot about that copyright. I'm still mad about it. But I feel like Bill's biggest weakness is probably speed. Yeah, that's true. And I just say offensive firepower. I wonder, it's just about whether or not Tua can get the ball out. Really good point. Really good point. Because Tua's not a guy that does well under pressure. But I don't believe he turned it over against the Patriots. I could be wrong on that. But I don't believe he turned it over. And with Tua, as we all... Nope, he did. Okay. He did. He threw a pick. Okay. Did he fumble? Okay. Hold on. Hold the fort. There it is. Did he fumble, though? Okay, he didn't fumble. That is a step up. Tyreek got going, even though he clearly still doesn't like Tua. Devon Achane looked pretty good. He looked pretty spry. Not on the ground, but through the air. Ollie Gordon, 1 carry for 8 yards, stud. He did at the end, yeah. So we'll see. Turnovers tend to come in bunches for Tua. We'll find out, though. I'm going to stream after this game, so we'll talk about it. And the narrative's either going to be, oh, my God, Mike McDaniels is going to get fired, or it's going to be, maybe the Bills aren't that good. It's going to be one of the two. But I don't think we'll be talking about the Dolphins beating the Bills. That would be crazy. He got bailed out of another pick with a penalty. Classic. Classic. I apologize for not having more detailed analysis this week. I'm going to be honest, guys. I really dislike not being able to give more detail on the games. I pride myself in being the sports analyst that watches the games. But I was pretty broken down watching Giants Cowboys. That was a lot for me. I was also broken down because I was editing all night. So forgive me, but it won't happen again this week. This week, week 3, we will be watching the games like a hawk. Not an Atlanta hawk. Like the kind of hawk that actually finishes games. Even though the Hawks looked, yeah, there it is. Yeah, the kind of hawk that wins in the postseason. Because we got some real fun ones. Packers Browns, that's going to be close. Colts Titans. Let's find out if Dan Jones can go 3-0. I think he can. Let's find out if he can. Bengals Vikings. Wentz versus Jake Browning. The 1 p.m. slam peaked, and then it went downhill after that. Yeah, agreed. That's what happens when you put 3 games, and Eagles-Chiefs is super boring. Steelers-Patriots. God, that's going to be boring. Rams-Eagles. That actually will be a fun one. That's actually going to be a really good game. I'll definitely have that in the quad box. Jets-Bucks without Justin Fields. I don't know, dude. Raiders-Commanders. I don't know, dude. Hopefully the Commanders pull it together. If they can't, full-on panic mode in D.C. Falcons-Panthers, divisional matchup. Bryce Young sucks. We all know that. Bryce Young is a disaster. Like Jarv said yesterday. I think it was Jarv. No, it wasn't Jarv. It was someone else. Bryce Young is only good when there's no pressure on him at all. And I mean no mental pressure. So I don't think the Panthers are going to win that game. I don't think anyone's expecting them to. Texans-Jags. Must-win game out of the Texans. Must-win game. Brian Thomas better play, and he better play well. Broncos-Chargers. Let's find out if the Broncos defense is fraudulent or they just had a bad week against the lightning rod that is Dan Jones. Saints-Seahawks. Obviously, the Seahawks have a good defense. I don't think that game's going to be very close. However, Alvin Kamara is still a good fantasy start because he's Alvin Kamara. Cowboys-Bears. I hope that's a shootout. I hope the Cowboys look terrible. God, that would be nice. Cardinals-Niners. belt to ass 49ers. Maybe. Who even knows? Maybe we'll get another week of Mac Jones. Then anything's on the table. And then the Monday night game is going to be a real fun one, hopefully. But none of the Sunday games matter compared to Sunday night football. Giants, Chiefs. And here's the thing I'm going to do. Normally, I stream after the games, and that is something I want to keep doing. However, I will be streaming during Giants, Chiefs. It is the one of two times that the Giants will be playing on prime time this year. I don't know if I'll stream the Eagles game on Thursday Night Football in Week 5, but Chiefs-Giants, Sunday Night Football, home opener to go 1-2 against the defending AFC champs. What else could you ask for? I will be live for that game. Chills just went across the USA. But that's my little half-cocked preview. I'll do more like predictions and takes later. But to be honest, the Thursday night game's not giving me much to be excited about. I don't think anybody's looking forward to this one, especially not the Dolphins. Maybe Bills fans, but no one else. Hopefully James Cook has a great night. By the way, fantasy ads for the week, because I won't be streaming tomorrow. Really quick. If anyone from my league's watching, get out of here. My bids just got shown. Now I got to change them. Great. As you could see, Troy Franklin was there. There was also another quarterback that was there. And I hate the Dolphins, so that game will be fun for me. Fair enough. Don't know anyone that hates the Dolphins, though. Wait a minute. I'll do this. I realize now. I thought you'd ended the stream. Nah, I just got booted. Classic. Okay, wait, hold on. I hate Yahoo's desktop app. I really do. It's such a joke. Why would I be looking? Okay. I'll say it, guys. It's time to add Dan Jones in fantasy. It's time to add Dan Jones. I showed my bid. I'm going to have to change it now for my fab bid. It's time to add Dan Jones. He's worth it. If you need a quarterback, that's a guy to get. Troy Franklin's another obvious ad. Dude had a good day. It's kind of a trap ad because a Sean Payton wide receiver is not someone that you should ever be too excited about. But he has upside. 15 targets on the season. Congratulations, Troy Franklin. He's going to be the hot waiver ad of the week. Hunter Renfro's a complete trap. Same thing goes for D-Hop if he's available in your league. Daimi Brown, if you want. I don't think he's worth it, though. Unless Brian Thomas misses time, but even then. Romeo Doubs is interesting. Mac Jones is always interesting. Not slim pickings on the waiver wire this week, fellas, to be honest. How'd Jake Tonjes do? Fine. Maybe Jake Tonjes is a fun, quirky little tight end, too. Not much to talk about in the fantasy world. Not much to talk about in the football world anyways. We went over the important stuff. We went over the 2 games tonight. We talked about Dan Jones a little bit. He's a good fantasy ad. I told the story. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. The NFL copyrighted me twice, so that's a new PR, new personal record for us guys. Let's see if we can get to 3 next week. Let's find out. It's like my videos aren't doing as well. I finally am having fun live streaming. The NFL has to come and piss on the parade. It's great. I need an RB. Henderson isn't the move anymore. My only options are Nick Chubb and Dylan Sampson. I mean, well, I'll say this. Is Trey Benson on waivers? If Trey Benson's on waivers, I'd pick him up. But to be honest with you, Mahi, while Henderson might not be a strong start at the moment, scroll. While Trey Henderson might not be a strong start at the moment, I feel, or Travion, I feel like better days are ahead. He still has a decently high floor just with the receiving upside. Like he's getting targets out of the backfield. 6 and 11 points aren't great. Better days are ahead though. Steelers give up 6 most points to running backs. That doesn't mean a ton, but it's something. Panthers should be a fun one. Bills won't be. But then after that, you got some easier games, no doubt. Maybe Cleveland's not ideal, and week 13 is a bloodbath, but, you know. Better days are ahead for Trayvon Henderson. I wouldn't panic. And to be honest with you, I'll stand 10 toes down on this. If there's going to be a hole on your team, I think one of my more comfortable places to be at with that is an RB2 hole. I've won championships with bad RB2s. You can figure it out. There will always be a guy on waivers. There will always be a hot handcuff. You just got to be active. But I wouldn't completely punt on TreVeyon Henderson. If you can't find a guy, if Dylan Sampson and Nick Chubb are your best picks, I don't think starting TreVeyon Henderson's the end of the world. He's on someone's bench. Ramondre earned a lot more snaps after this week. I mean, yeah, but it's Ramondre Stevenson. You know? I refuse to believe in Ramondre Stevenson. He could score 5 touchdowns. I refuse to believe. Butte had 1 catch after 100 yards last week. Yeah, he did. Butte's an interesting one. Who knows what the hell he's going to do? But again, it's not a strong waiver wire. What I recommend doing, seeing if there are any like handsome handcuffs. You can pick up Trey Benson's one of my favorite fantasy players at the moment because he has that floor as an RB2 in the Cardinals offense. He's getting you 8 points, and he's a really valuable handcuff. Like James Conner's been healthy once. Trey Benson looks so much better than he did last year. We don't root for injuries around here. But if for some reason Trey Benson, I know he's rostered in 52% of Yahoo leagues, but in a shallower format, if Trey Benson's available, he's a good ad. But honestly, I like talking fantasy, and I think my team's pretty good. I'm not going to show an NFL thing. Don't worry, NFL bot that's sitting in here. I'm not going to show highlights. That would be a train wreck. Ron Stewart's a hell of a fantasy guy. Ron Stewart says some great stuff. This is like my favorite fantasy YouTuber. His videos are long, but they're detailed. Definitely, he's going to drop a waiver pickup video tonight or tomorrow. If you don't watch Ron Stewart already, check him out. He's sick. I don't sub to him on my Hunnaball channel, but that just changed. This guy's sick. He gives you all the detail and info you need to know. Good guy. But that's basically all I got. In case you forgot, the Raiders took Ashton Jeanty with the 6th pick and don't know how to build around him. So there you go. That's all I got. That's all I got. Screw the NFL. Screw you, Roger, for copywriting me twice and stopping the momentum of this otherwise epic stream talking about the 2 most exciting games in NFL history. At least they didn't copyright me yesterday. I would have been pissed. If the NFL copyrighted me while I was talking about Giants Cowboys, my monitor may not be standing still. So, but honestly, fellas, I'll leave it at that. It's almost midnight on the West Coast, which means for you East Coast fellas, it's almost 3. I think I've been streaming for like 2 hours or so now. So definitely got more out of this than I thought I would. But yeah, I won't see you guys until Thursday. But and I have a feeling we won't have much to talk about after Bills Dolphins. But if for some reason that game is entertaining, I will be here to talk about it. And even if it isn't, I will be here to talk about it. But if not, whatever. Otherwise, you guys have been sick. Thank you for sticking through 2 copyright strikes. I hope you guys have a sick rest of your night and miss half the NFL stream. Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to stop. If I get copywritten again, I'm not going to stop. Unless the NFL kicks me off and gives me a copyright strike straight up, I'm not going to stop. I'll just refresh the stream. You got to leave and rejoin. That way the audio syncs up. And then we will be back in action, back in the saddle. I'll probably watch less highlights, though. I might not even watch Twitter clips at this point. But no point in ranting about that anymore. It's getting late. You guys have a sick rest of your night. I know I'll have one for mine. I got a pint of Halo Top in the freezer. And I'm going to watch me some Modern Family. And once I get done with that, I just may watch Penguin, because I do appreciate the shout. And I realized that one girl, Kristen Milotti, whatever, the chick from How I Met Your Mother, is in it. She's a hell of an actress, and I'd be excited to see that show. Anyways, in case you forgot, the Giants are beating the Chiefs. I'm going to call it there. Thanks again for watching. Drop a like if you didn't already. Hunnaball. See ya.